But the day after the fight, right after the day after, I woke up and told my wife, why did I do that? I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on.
Is it true that you made $170 million from this fight? I made a lot of money, the most money I've made ever.
I gave him a chance, and that's all one needs is just a chance.
Mike Tyson and Anthony Joshua have just unleashed a combined strike that has the entire fight game staggering. And frankly, the ripples from this event are traveling faster than anybody could have forecasted. I'm referring to volatile, legacy-altering allegations they've leveled regarding Jake Paul and what is being characterized as a colossal $5 million corruption scheme that has everyone from occasional viewers to die-hard boxing historians completely losing their composure. The reality that is beginning to materialize from behind the scenes, man, it is far murkier and more intricate than anyone could have concocted in their wildest conspiracies.
Anthony Joshua just makes the whole sport look ridiculous. Gets them more attention.
And here is the factor that has everyone on edge. This isn't merely some fleeting gossip that will vanish in a week. This is fundamentally transforming how the sport of boxing will be viewed, debated, and recalled for eternity. We are observing a critical juncture in combat sports history developing in real time. He called out Anthony Joshua. It just makes the whole sport appear absurd. It grants them more exposure. Despite all the changes that had already occurred in the boxing landscape, a brief gym video of Mike Tyson surfaced online. And let me tell you, the statements that left Iron Mike's lips landed heavier and sliced deeper than any knockout blow he ever delivered during his fabled career. Quote, end quote. And here is what renders that declaration so potent. It wasn't spoken for clout. It wasn't computed for viral distribution. It wasn't engineered to spawn headlines. No, this was uttered with absolute unfiltered disdain, the sort of raw sentiment you cannot forge or fabricate. The individuals present in that facility when he spoke, those who actually heard the timbre of his voice and witnessed the intensity in his gaze, they instantly realized that something severe, something monumental, was about to erupt in the fight.
I don't remember the fight that much. I kind of blanked out a little.
Sir, did you watch it back or anything or no?
I haven't watched the fight. No, I have not. Coming back from the first round, and then the next day I remember Jake is doing some kind of, I don't know, what was he doing?
The response spanning social media platforms and fight forums was instantaneous. Like a spark meeting fuel, enthusiasts everywhere began posing the query that nobody truly wished to voice aloud. The question that makes your stomach turn when you genuinely contemplate it. What if the bouts people spent their hard-earned cash on? The contests they stayed up late to view? The fights they wagered on and argued over? Were never actually as authentic and valid as they trusted? What if, beneath all the theatrical press conferences, the stare-downs, the glamour, the blinding lights, and the meticulously placed lenses?
An amateur coming into the game with no experience, he's taken on some good names. They may be old, they may be from different combats in terms of MMA and so on, but he's got in the ring at a decent level. Fought Tommy Fury.
There were clandestine agreements being struck, concealed financial trails being laid, and predetermined finales being sculpted and modeled long before the opening bell ever tolled. Just that notion alone, that probability residing in the back of your psyche, was sufficient, ample, to rattle the very bedrock of the sport and force people to interrogate everything they thought they understood regarding modern boxing. Less than 24 hours later, and this is where matters become absolutely chaotic, the astonishment factor doubled, perhaps even tripled. Anthony Joshua, AJ himself, vocalized his thoughts during what was intended to be a standard training block, and what escaped his lips matched Mike Tyson's sentiment, almost flawlessly, as if they had practiced it, except they hadn't.
Listen, I wouldn't have realized any of it if it went 3-minute rounds. I didn't realize it.
Quote, people are being paid to play roles, end quote. That solitary phrase traversed the boxing landscape like a voltage surge, like lightning hitting the identical spot twice. Consider what this signifies. Two absolute titans of the game, two icons from distinct eras with diverging styles and varying origins, were now aiming their fingers at the precise same issue, elevating the precise same anxieties, and shattering the precise same code of omerta that had seemingly shielded this apparatus for years. And just to offer you a flavor of the strain that was already mounting, there is this instance, this interplay. Why did you just call me again? I didn't call you anything.
I'm really not trying to be tough or something. It didn't feel.
You trying to be a tough guy or something?
I didn't even feel a single thing.
How?
Not even oh my God, that hurt, my skin, the impact.
Why did you call me, Mike? You can sense the ferocity, the exasperation, the burden of what is being debated. Now let's discuss Mike Tyson for a moment, because comprehending who he is makes his position even more formidable. Tyson isn't just another retired combatant gathering appearance checks at star-studded gatherings. This man is the unvarnished and distilled result of savage gyms, where they lacked social media squads or PR advisors. A realm of fractured bones and shattered aspirations. An era in boxing history when the trade was genuinely about endurance, not about constructing your personal brand or optimizing your Instagram interaction. Anthony Joshua, conversely,
I wish he would have, like put up a better fight so then I could have like risen more and done more. And like he was surviving.
He was.
So
annoying.
that was the only thing I didn't like.
So annoying when they don't bring the fight to you.
Yeah.
constructed his entire trajectory with military-grade regimen, major corporate backers endorsing his every step, and a meticulously curated, pristine public persona that made him sellable to mainstream crowds globally. So when someone who is that cautious, that deliberate, that defensive of his standing, suddenly fractures the silence and speaks out against the machine, it implies the scenario has already spiraled totally out of command behind the curtains. Now, Joshua did not approach a microphone and indict anyone by name. He did not level fingers at particular organizers or pugilists, and he didn't need to.
Yeah, there are, but it's all about on the night. The levels that I carried last year and the year before and the year after that will not win me this fight. What will win me this fight is performing on the night, and I have to respect my opponent.
Because the signal was transparent to everyone paying heed. The mechanism that ruled professional boxing had fundamentally mutated. What used to be entirely about who could battle the best, who possessed the most prowess, the most spirit, the most resolve, had somehow transformed into something wholly different. It had become about who could vend the most pay-per-views, who could spur the most clicks, who could manufacture the most viral instances. And that deviation, that metamorphosis, is where the modern boxing entertainment engine steps into the frame and alters absolutely everything about how the game operates.
But if the opportunity presents itself, I'm not planning on carrying Jake for 1 second more than I have to.
Jake Paul's ascent through the boxing hierarchy has been rapid-fire and profoundly baffling for many legacy boxing fans who recall when fighters had to merit their way up through decades of grueling labor. Here is a YouTuber, a content generator, who somehow evolved himself into a headline attraction, drawing stadium-capacity crowds in just a few brief years. His contests consistently draw in millions upon millions of views across networks. They sell out major venues in hours, and they produce absolutely colossal pay-per-view figures that make promoters' eyes gleam with dollar signs. According to publicly accessible records and industry insiders who monitor these statistics, some of his largest events breached the $800,000 to $1 million buy barrier, which is genuinely ludicrous when you contemplate it. That is creating more income and reaching more retinas than many valid world title bouts.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua.
Featuring actual championship caliber boxers who have devoted their entire existences to the craft. It is so aggravating when they don't bring the battle to you. Yeah. But here is the inquiry that keeps arising in gym dialogues and industry boardrooms. How? How did this transpire so swiftly? Promoters, speaking privately and off the record, because they don't wish to be cited directly, have quietly characterized the whole scene as essentially a social media combat factory, a content manufacturing plant. In this new actuality, clicks and interaction metrics matter infinitely more than actual boxing aptitude or technique. The narrative, the tale being spun, the drama being fabricated, matters more than what is scribbled on the official scorecard at the close of the night. The antagonist and the protagonist are selected early in the promotional cycle, carefully picked based on what will spark the most social media discourse. And the remainder of the entire promotional drive is purely about keeping the spectators hooked, keeping them involved, keeping them chatting and sharing and bickering online.
It's not a casual, relaxed fight where you can kind of move around and get your groove and he's going to stay on the outside and you're going to... No, it's just constant. He survived that guy twice. He survived, in my opinion, the most skillful heavyweight of all time. Twice. And you're going to go box him? And the toughest guy you fought before was 40.
In this new system that has materialized over the past 5 years, collaboration between fighters triumphs over genuine rivalry. Fighters are no longer perceived primarily as athletes testing themselves against the elite. They have become characters in an unfolding plotline, personalities in a drama serial. The viral instant, the snippet that propagates across Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, becomes more significant than the clean, technical victory that boxing purists value. Traditional boxing culture didn't just vanish overnight in some theatrical implosion. It was slowly, methodically, tactically supplanted by viral internet culture, and most folks didn't even detect it occurring until it was already too late. Then we arrive at the most unsettling allegations that are beginning to emerge from individuals within the trade. Insiders, people who have worked on agreements and promotional pacts, describe something they are terming appearance incentive.
That's just going to make him more dangerous. He's going to be terrifying, and he's going to have a lot to prove. He's going to be very angry that Jake Paul wants to fight him. Very upset that this YouTuber who's fought Tommy Fury, who's a legit boxer, and, a couple other guys that were legit boxers. That's it.
And this is where it gets truly dubious. These aren't traditional premiums for winning a bout, for retaining a title, for putting on a stellar display. No, this is cash being dispersed simply for showing up and portraying a certain pre-arranged function in the narrative. Contracts that literally compensate the story being narrated rather than the outcome in the square circle. Paperwork and legal instruments that focus on sparking headlines and social media buzz instead of what is penned on the judge's tallies.
There's the right hand. Jake Paul goes down again. And he's fired. He's to keep moving them feet like him.
There is also persistent chatter of silence clauses entrenched in these deals, and intense coercion to sign non-disclosure agreements. Fighters are allegedly being instructed either explicitly or through very distinct implication to keep their lips sealed about what they witness happening behind the drapery, what transpires in promotion gatherings, what gets debated in contract talks. If they speak out, if they violate that code of quiet, doors shut rapidly, chances evaporate overnight. Careers stall out and never recuperate. Given that reality, many fighters make the calculated decision to embrace silence over survival because speaking the truth might feel satisfying for a second, but it doesn't pay the overheads or nourish your kin. The vital point that people need to comprehend here, and this is pivotal.
Oh no, I don't remember the fight that much. I kind of blanked out a little. Listen, know what I remember? Coming back from the first round, and then the next day I remember Jake is doing some kind of, I don't know, what was he doing at the ring?
The assertions that are being leveled are not necessarily about directly fixing the results of fights in the classical sense. They are about something perhaps even more insidious. Controlling the entire narrative surrounding the bout, controlling how the fight is peddled to the populace, how the adversary behaves during the promotional tour, how the story unwinds across social media and sports channels, who becomes positioned as the savior that fans cheer for, and who becomes cast as the villain that everyone wants to see fall. That distinction is significant because it is more nuanced, harder to substantiate, and easier to refute. That is precisely why Mike Tyson and Anthony Joshua's subsequent move absolutely rattled the industry to its marrow and sent promoters scrambling. They convened face-to-face in private at a Las Vegas facility, and this wasn't some publicity gimmick. There were no cameras filming content, no managers brokering terms, no press members jotting notes, no social media squads drafting the flawless post. Just two men who constructed their careers the arduous way through blood and perspiration, and years of forfeiture sitting down to have a genuine dialogue. According to folks who are near the situation and have awareness of what was debated, the talk was intense, heavy, and brutally candid. They spoke about integrity in boxing, about manipulation in the trade, about what the sport was transforming into versus what it used to symbolize, about whether they had an obligation to speak up. When they finally exited that gym, something fundamental had shifted. You could observe it in their body language, in their countenances. Anthony Joshua was blunt and straightforward with his declaration afterward. Quote, "I'm done pretending this is normal." End quote. Mike Tyson followed up with words that sliced even deeper into the core of the matter. Quote, "Fans deserve to know when something's real." End quote. Those two simple sentences, just a handful of words each, narrated the entire saga of what is transpiring in boxing. This was not about envy over currency, not about elder fighters being resentful about younger stars, not about personal grudges or trivial drama. This was about conscience, about doing what is just, about shielding the integrity of a sport they both cherish. The timing of all this could not possibly have been more dire for Jake Paul's camp and his entire team of counselors and promoters. Typically, and I mean this as a consistent pattern anyone can validate, Jake replies almost instantly to any controversy, any challenge, any drama that cites his name. He has built his entire brand on being the quickest responder in combat sports, shooting back at critics within minutes. But this time there was absolutely nothing. No tweets firing back at the icons, no Instagram stories justifying his stance, no emergency press briefings, no live streams addressing the allegations, just complete and total stillness, radio silence. And here's the thing about boxing. In this game, at this tier, silence is never accidental. It is never just someone taking a hiatus from social media. Silence is strategic, it is computed, it is a selection. Meanwhile, almost immediately, fighters across multiple divisions and weight classes quietly started demonstrating their backing for Tyson and Joshua. Subtle likes on their uploads, strategic shares of their quotes, carefully phrased comments that said just enough without saying too much. No one was stepping out and saying everything explicitly out loud, because that isn't how this world functions. But everyone in the boxing fraternity understood exactly what was transpiring, what was being relayed, and what side of history they wished to be on. He is only the symbol, the most visible representation of a larger problem. The real issue, the thing that is actually at stake here, is the entire future of the sport itself. Is boxing going to be a legitimate athletic competition, or is it going to become a content channel? Programming designed to generate revenue? Is it going to be built on skill and dedication, or on storylines and manufactured drama? Are champions going to be crowned by their punches and their heart, or by algorithms and social media metrics? Mike Tyson and Anthony Joshua did not want this responsibility placed on their shoulders. They didn't campaign for it or seek it out. They did not ask to become the guardians of the old code, the protectors of what boxing used to mean. But history has this strange way, this almost mystical tendency of choosing its messengers, of putting the right people in the right position at the right time. Right now, at this very moment, the sport is standing at the edge of a cliff, a genuine point of no return. One step in one direction leads to pure entertainment, boxing as a scripted show. The other step leads back to the roots, to the foundation of what boxing was supposed to be about, what it represented for over a century. The decision being made in these moments, through these conversations and confrontations, will echo for decades into the future, will determine what the sport looks like for the next generation of fighters. And that is the part that keeps everyone in the boxing world uneasy, unable to relax. Because when legends stop protecting the system, when the code of silence breaks and the truth starts leaking out into public view, the next chapter is always unpredictable, always chaotic. The storm that Mike Tyson and Anthony Joshua kicked off is not over, not even close. It is only getting started, only gathering more strength. More voices are going to come forward in the weeks ahead. That is inevitable now. More stories will surface from people who have been waiting for the right moment. More deals will be questioned and examined under the microscope. More careers will change direction as people pick sides. This was never just an exposé, never just about revealing some secrets or settling some scores. This was a warning shot across the bow of the entire industry, a declaration that certain lines cannot be crossed without consequences. The implications of what is happening right now will reshape professional boxing for years to come, and everyone in the sport knows it.